hello to the world. And this is Your Turn Podcast.
Life's too short not to take your turn, so we hold space for your stories and hard truths. And we are excited, aren't we? Think of it episode as the soft opening. So buckle up and you're in now for the ride. What are we going to talk about today, Joel?
Well, first of all, we will talk about your turn. What is it? Why is it your turn? And we'll delve more into that.
Yeah, what made us decide of having a podcast? So I think the main question here is what made us finally say, let's just fucking do it and start this podcast. If you ask me, I do not remember when did we actually say, let's just do it. I think it's kind of like up in the air for last year. Wasn't it last year?
Yeah, it was last year.
Yeah, so, and then eventually we thought of like, okay, let's talk about it. And then we stopped talking and then pick it up again. And here we are. So we just kind of like, we have this passion within us. And we thought like, let's put it out there. Because I think we can invite more people in this conversation. And I think that's the most important part of your turn. Why did you agree on podcast though?
Well, for me, it was more like we could probably reach more people the way I was seeing it, because probably not everyone can access YouTube or all the other things. But sometimes podcast episodes or snippets of those are played on radio stations. You know, people listen to radio. So there's some way that we can reach people. The idea is to make sure that we connect and everyone gets a chance.
It's free range, isn't it? It's a free range thing, because some people, like what you said, some people would listen to the audio itself or just the audio and the video. So we thought of like covering all the grounds, and podcast would be the perfect one. Why did we choose the name Your Turn? Is it our first choice? It wasn't. I'm telling you, it took us fucking long time to decide what's the name, and we kind of like we threw hundreds of names out there, but we just couldn't agree. We rarely agree anyway on things. So, but we thought of like I think what was there were two choices. So one is Your Turn, and what was the previous one? It's the Audacity.
Audacity, right? Yeah.
But we kind of, I thought personally for me, I really loved it. But as weeks gone by and it's sitting on the back of your head, it just doesn't have that ring. So I immediately contacted Joel and I said, we got to change this. And I thought it needs to be somewhat like relatable. It needs to be somewhat like catchy. And people would remember, and Your Turn is the best one. And of course, the meaning behind it, it's allowing people to have their turns in it. The message we hope to bring, though, into the world with Your Turn. For you, Joel, what was your goal in agreeing to this podcast?
Apart from us talking, making sure...
The mouth keeps talking and yapping.
And also making sure that people who we are talking to, they feel heard, they feel they can express themselves, and everyone has a story, but it's only what you hear, right? So you have to have both sides of the coin. So it's important that everyone gets a chance to speak.
Absolutely. And I think there are so many stories that is not quite out there yet because it's too dark or it's too light, no one cares. But there are also so many stories out there that shouldn't be out there. So we thought of like, let's listen to all corners of the world, and we wanted to stick with ordinary people, didn't we?
Yes.
Right? We wanted to stick with ordinary people. If we happen chance to get invites to interview someone who's famous, why not? We're also open for that. But I think because we are just starting up, we wanted to connect first to normal people, to ordinary people, because these are the stories that are really lived experiences and a lot of people will be able to relate. And that's the main goal of the podcast. What do we want the your turn to feel like for the people who find it? So let's say, I know you've got certain types of friends, and so am I. Maybe I don't have a lot, but it's all right. But I just feel like, who do we want this Your Turn podcast for? It's for everybody, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is. Whether it is friends or not friends, or who we used to be friends with, or whatever it is, complete strangers. The idea is to make sure that everyone understands that their story matters, and what they have experienced, what they've learned, they've endured, and how they've evolved is quite a learning experience for everyone. And it's important for people to know, today, with so much peer pressure and with all the social media mongering, I'd like to say, people want to outlive themselves and people around them, without any purpose. So we want to bring that whole purpose back. People need to know why they are doing what they are doing. Everyone needs to remind themselves where they came from, keep close to the roots. So that's the whole purpose of us bringing the whole Your Turn podcast together.
100%, because it's the connection that we make. So there are some voices that are not spoken yet. It's because they're too scared to be judged, and we're gonna open that space for everybody. So Your Turn, clearly we've layered the ground here quite enough. So Your Turn is a safe space for everybody, for you. So I know this is a pre-pilot. It is our turn to talk about what's the purpose of this podcast, but the succeeding episode will always be your turn. So now, if we move on from that, we have to talk about who the fuck we were, because we're not perfect. We didn't become like some wisdom type of people who's like, oh, you're very spiritual, or you're like always positive and all. No, we're not. Okay, we're not. This is made, I think that's really the motivation behind it, because we have gone shithole of stuff. And this motivated us to connect to people, because we didn't have a lot of resources to help each other at the time, or to help ourselves. And we wanted to open that space for everybody. But we wanted to talk about first who we were. So describe your old self, Joel, in one word, and now your current self in one word.
Happy-go-lucky with millions of friends, and I thought the whole world was my friend.
Can I describe you? We've known each other. A lot of you may not know this, but Joel and I have been friends for more than a decade. So
more than a decade.
If I would describe you, Joel, in one word, your old self, I would call you a dickhead.
Why?
Well, I love dickhead friends. I am attracted to dickhead friends. If I think you're too nice and naughty, I don't want to be friends with you. You're boring. And I think that what kind of like attracted me to Joel, and said that I like to be with this guy who's got no filter, who's very honest. He's just a dick. He's not a dickhead, okay? He's a dickhead positively. He's just like, he doesn't give a fuck about anything. And I like that about him. And I still think you are like that, but more of like spiritual. It's more of like, positive note, which is disgusting. But here we are. We're actually improving and progressing. So, yeah. But if you would describe me, though, in one word, my old self, what would it be?
Spontaneous.
Yeah, I was quite risky, because I felt like that's a way to enjoy life. But if I would describe myself, I was contained. See, if you think I am spontaneous, for me, I was so contained. I felt like I was hiding a lot, and I didn't like myself a lot. So I pretend to be someone else, to be liked by everybody else. So that was me. But now, how would you describe yourself again? Your current self?
If you ask me now, this very moment, I think very focused, because I know exactly what I want. There's no distractions. So yeah, there's a proper routine to things. Took time.
Right. Yeah, before I tell you what I think of you now, of your current self, I'll tell myself. So my current self is more of, I feel more powerful. I feel more empowered and true to myself. I love myself better. Or I love myself now because I didn't love myself then. So I am more like a completely different person now. It is just completely elevated to a person that I like myself more. But what would you describe me as my current self in one word?
Ooh, in one word, I would say mature.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was immature
definitely.
before. Thanks.
I have seen you, and in all these years, the growth and evolution that I've seen. So your eureka moment was when we met in Blue Ridge, and that was when you had just met Martin. So that was your eureka moment, because I could see the change, the difference in how you are moving away from how you used to be. So it's been quite a journey, but yeah, I can say one word: mature.
Well, actually, I've got a photo of that, which I'm going to edit out as part of this video. So I'm sure you still remember that photo. I was blonde,
Yes.
and we just happened chance to just bump into each other. It's like, oh
Yeah.
my God, there's a sign behind this, because we've seen a different side of us that we've never seen
Yes.
before. But if
Very
I would
true.
describe your current self now in one word, I'm proud. Proud is the word. Because I think if I like you as a dickhead before positively, but I think now you are more of like logically dickhead. 'Cause you are more, you know more what you want. So you are
Yeah.
not just going in the trend, or you're not just going with the flow of everybody else. You have the way. You sometimes go even against the flow. And I think seeing someone else grow into that kind of person, you just don't have the right word, but just proud. Because I know what you've gone through yourself, and it's just amazing to see someone who's grown. And I know we haven't talked and connected how do you call this, as often as we want to, because life happens. But then again, just seeing you in that, it just felt like, who the fuck is this person? He's still the funny guy that I know that would laugh, hilariously. But then again, it's just more just different. It is just refreshing to see. We move on to the next question. What's one thing you believe about yourself that isn't true anymore?
I used to think there's not much that I can do. I am very limited and very restricted. Even though I had a lot of dreams and aspirations, I don't think like that anymore. So I know that I can do anything and I can achieve anything. And it took me quite some time to get to believe and have that firm faith that anything is possible. Of course, it has a lot to do with me in getting inclined towards the whole spiritual aspect of it. So yeah.
Bjorn is just slamming on the door. So we might have to pause for a break because I need to tend to my child. But look, if I will answer to that question, what's the one thing that I believe about myself that isn't true anymore? I think I have to agree. I think I feel limited. Like I said, I felt contained. Like I'm not allowed to do that because I'm not too pretty, or I'm not too intelligent, or I'm not too rich. It's just like all these wrong beliefs about myself that I was fed into, or I was conditioned to believe, because it's just the way it is, because of the culture, because of how parenting is. But that's the way it is. So we've answered that who we were, and we can move on to the who we are now, what we want to talk about, because that's really what we want to focus on, the present, right?
Yes.
But before we move on, we're going to go for a quick break. Stay with us because it's still our turn, but eventually it'll be your turn. Again, this is your host, Tanya
and Joel. Thank you very much, guys. We'll see you again.
Catch you soon.